Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. So today, I got another one of those stupid bleeping text messages offering me money.
How much money?
Well, see, that's just it. They said that they could give me as much money as I need.
I need $1 million.
Hell, that's thinking too
Hey,
small.
man.
What I said was $400 million, not a penny less. You want to know what happened? They never responded. Guarantee you if I had said 10,000, I would have gotten a response.
Bonus points to anybody who got my Dr. Evil reference.
Of course I got it.
Well, I didn't say
But
you
you're
didn't.
thinking too small.
Well, if
400
you'll remember,
million is 400 times as much money.
That's from when Dr. Evil came to the future and he didn't understand how big a million was, and then he changed it to $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
the comedy in that is just outrageous when you think about it. Like it's so advanced for its time. It's just outrageous.
It thrills me to my very core.
But it was advanced for its time. It wasn't a normal thing. But, you know, speaking of not normal things.
And Canadians.
Well, isn't that the same thing?
Hey! I resemble that remark.
You sure do.
Not as much as those people people.
We were at a Golden Knights game, and unfortunately they were playing Toronto. And their fans have to be the most obnoxious fans I have ever encountered. And I've encountered Giants fans.
Last year, we went to a playoff game between the Knights and Edmonton. And those were the most obnoxious fans I had ever encountered. They
100%.
were rude. They were taunting people, and then they were sore losers when they got goals scored against them. But these obnoxious sons of bitches behind us today just affirmed.
Let's go, boys. Come on, boys.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, it was awful. They affirmed every anti-Toronto stereotype I have ever uttered in my entire life.
Yeah.
I have never been more correct than I was tonight, sitting amongst those Toronto fans.
You know what I find interesting? You've told me this about Toronto people in general for a long time. And like, I watch two YouTubers who live right on the outskirts of Toronto. And both of them are the nicest people you'd ever meet.
Outskirts.
Okay, gotcha. City dweller, different than outskirts dweller. Got it. Well, we're different than people who live in the middle of the damn city by a long shot.
Calling the people you watch on YouTube from Toronto is like calling us from Los Angeles and attributing all of the bad things about Los Angeles people to us. None of them are true.
Yeah, true point. So these people are super obnoxious. They got to yell and scream about everything. He doesn't understand the the icing rule. Every single time they'd throw the puck down, the ref would immediately indicate that it was not icing for good reason. It wasn't icing. And the guy's yelling, I don't understand why it's not icing. Why isn't that icing?
And then every time one of them would have the puck. Ooh, 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 ooh. He sounded like a baby seal being clubbed on the Hudson Bay.
And then one of those people who uses the players' first names as though he's their best friend.
Right.
I wanted to puke.
Bruh, they've never heard of you. They don't give a shit. And you, sir, specifically Seal Boy, should be ashamed to be Canadian with how little you know about hockey.
It was
Seal Boy.
It was embarrassing. But what was funny was I was sitting there thinking, I'm seething, and I'm thinking to myself, they're getting all excited because by the time the first period was over, it was 4-0 in their favor. Yep. And they're all celebrating everything. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but when's the last time you won the Stanley Cup? Because as far as I know, we're the defending Stanley Cup champions. So hey, how'd that go?
I was just sitting there petting my Stanley Cup T-shirt while they were fighting.
Yeah, it's like how'd that go, Mr. Obnoxious?
Yeah.
And they're very obnoxious.
It's a matter of making it all the way to the playoffs, not winning a single game against this current Stanley Cup champions.
It's being the last team standing. That's who's the champion.
Which they are just the chokiest.
They choke every time.
Choke land.
Yep. One time when Matthew first played ice hockey, very first time, there's always, one of the things you learn about youth hockey is there's always that team, that club that everybody fears. It's usually either a team from each division or an entire club, but they're feared. And when Maddie was a squirt, so like 8 years old,
Okay.
they had Yorba Linda Blackhawks were the oh my god team. You know, you don't want to play against them, right? And we go into playoffs, we make the playoffs, and it's like a play down. You like play a round robin tournament. Top 2 teams go to championship game, and then those teams go on to states because there's 4 teams in states.
So the same way the state cup worked for soccer.
Yeah, and then top 2 teams, and then top 2 teams, and then those 2 teams go to states. Well, they were like, oh my god, you know, we're in the same division as the Blackhawks. We're not going to have a chance. We're just fighting for second place. We get there. Blackhawks have already played 2 games. They lost one game 4-0, and the next one 10-0 to the 2 other teams that we've owned all season long. So then we end up doing what we do, and we win both of those games, and we were the number 1 team after that. Well, same kind of thing happened year after year after year. The mighty warrior during the season.
Look what happened to Boston last year.
Yeah, sad.
Boston. Big, hulky Boston. Boom! Slaughtered.
Yeah, record-setting wins. And they got knocked out in the first round.
Right. Aggressively.
Like, well, not aggressively. It was a game 7. But
still aggressively.
And in their favor, it was the Florida Panthers who knocked them out. And the Florida Panthers who were playing in the Stanley Cup final. So I think they lost to a good team. That's all. And that Panthers team was gritty, but I don't think they were that good. We dominated them last time.
They were all brawn and no brain.
But back to the Maple Leafs. Remember last year how cocky they were? This was their year. They were going to win the cup.
Every year is their year.
And then then they teased them by letting them win a round.
Yeah.
And then they lost.
Yeah.
It's sad. It really is sad. I feel bad for them.
I always hope for Canadian teams to make it to like second round, third round, unless it's Toronto. And now I'm going to put them in the category with Edmonton. I can't not.
You know how we talked about, like, am I on the edge of the spectrum? Sometimes I wonder about that. And especially with encounters like tonight, because when we got in that line, so guys, we're waiting. There's like, for whatever reason, we think it had something to do with the mass data outage that happened today. But we don't know for sure. The doors opened like 40 minutes late, and there were so many people packed in that little plaza that's there outside. And we have our T-Mobile entrance, so we're trying to head towards the T-Mobile entrance, and the line that we're in looks like it goes there. Well, all of a sudden, from 4 rows to our left, 4 lines to our left, comes this man and this woman, and they just like casually get up on like the bench that's there. They look around like all casual, and then they just step in front. And I go, oh, wow. I guess you guys have the privilege tickets. And she turns around and she's like, oh, we've been here. And he goes, yeah, we were over there waiting and we moved over here. Well, why do you get to switch lines? I mean, if I pick line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and I go into line 2, why do I get to switch to line 4 randomly whenever I fucking feel like it?
Right.
I don't. I make a choice and I stick to it. Right. Well, people were nuts. And then, so finally she says to me, oh, well, we've probably delayed you about 67 seconds. And I said, I don't care if you delayed me by 1 second. That's not the point. It's all these people back here that you're cutting in front of. And they just kind of told me that they were sad that I was.
She said, I'm sad for you that you're so unhappy.
Yeah.
Because she was a condescending,
and now it's supposed. Well, that's fine. But this
excellent.
Is the thing, people. I'm going to say this 1,000 times more. I've said it 1,000 times before. Say whatever the fuck you want to say about me. I don't care what people think about me. And it's proof positive. You can say whatever you want. Oh, I can't even remember what she said. It didn't affect me at all.
You know how I always say that I don't ever come up with the right comeback in the moment? It's how I ended up yelling that expletive at that person who said the rude things to me, and that's really not what I should have said.
Well, and you're even more careful now since that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Growth.
I should have said back to her instead of what I actually said, which I will not repeat. Nobody gets to know.
See you next Tuesday.
I did not the lady tonight. I did not say that to the lady tonight.
No, that was the last lady.
But we've talked about that before.
You said you weren't going to say what the word was that you said the last lady. That's the word.
Anyways.
Okay, see you next Tuesday. I should
have said, shut up. I should have said,
see you next Tuesday.
No, can you stop? You're very distracting.
Goal accomplished.
Turd sandwich. I should have said that I'm sad for her that she's so entitled.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I'm sad for you,
which would have bothered
a stupid
which
bleep.
would have bothered her because the privileged ticket is what made her answer me.
Right.
I didn't just say, "Oh, you cut in line." She would have just said, "No, I didn't," and then looked the other way and never looked back. Right. But because I called them privileged,
right.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like when I say I'm on the edge of the spectrum, to me, it's like, why am I arguing with them about cutting in line when I ended up in a completely different line and probably got in 20 minutes sooner than they did?
We did 20 minutes, but we were going up the escalator when they came in the doors.
Yeah, so we got in sooner.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I cared.
I don't know why you cared either, but you are these are the rules, and all y'all must follow them.
Well, here's what I always think. If where they have their little line where you go through the metal detector, if there are rules there that you have to follow, as in single file line, etc., those rules extend as long as that line extends. They don't just disappear just because the line got to be 500 people long. You don't get to stand 12 people deep when you're not supposed to. I don't care if eventually you get back in a single line, but hey, man, fucking get back in the single line in the order you were when you got out of the single line. Don't cheat. I hate that. So you're right. I'm a rule follower. But why? It's weird. It's like, it reminds me of that kid on Parenthood, Max.
Well, maybe you're a little there. Maybe
it's like,
not.
But it's Thursday. I want my piano lesson or whatever the hell it was. Like he always had his thing and it had to happen on this day at this time. And
this
if it
was
didn't,
the way that it is.
He'd
this
have
is
a
my
meltdown.
Routine, and you're going to make my routine happen or I'm going to have a cow.
Yeah, it's
you're
really
not that bad.
It's really interesting. Sometimes I am, though.
About rules and stuff, you are.
It's weird.
You're a little odd.
I'm a lot odd. Let's be real.
That's okay. I like you anyway.
You just like me?
You want to know what I don't like?
That's sad.
Toronto Maple Leafs fans.
Yes, they're the worst. We've already discussed this. I think we closed the book on that. That they are absolutely the worst. They're the most entitled group of people. I'm glad we got out of there early because losing as badly as we're doing, it would be insufferable.
Put it this way. We were there for the first period of the game. The third period just started.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's just insane, man.
And we came all the way home.
Yeah.
Got into our pajamas.
Yeah.
And came in here to
came here and chatted with you guys for the last 13 minutes. So,
They're pretty rad, so it's okay.
Bottom line, I know everybody loves their team and I know they want to cheer for their team, but like, come on, have some fucking common sense. You haven't won a Stanley Cup in like 150 years and you're going to come in there and be all cocky in someone else's home.
No, it's not even, it's, they didn't have any sportsmanship or courtesy. They were being obnoxious from the second the pregame stuff started.
Yep.
It's not even that we were down 4-0. That's not why we're annoyed. We're annoyed because they were annoying.
Yep.
My guess is the Knights could have been up 4-0 and we would have still left at the end of the first period because those people were so obnoxious.
Well, I was worried I was going to say something I would regret later, and I'm avoiding that with all the plague.
I had all of my Canadian derogatory slang ready. I was shining it up. You can't call an American a hoser because they don't know what it is. But you can call a Canadian a hoser.
Hoser.
And they'll be mega offended.
You're such a hoser.
Those dudes behind us were hosers.
They were special. They were
Bunch of hosers.
I couldn't resist it when he was going, put it in the net. What the hell was that? And it went into the net, just the wrong net. It was up high. So I had to turn around and go, well, he did. He listened. I said he listened. He just put it in the wrong net. And the guy was like, huh? Sometimes my jokes are so specific that people just don't get them.
Well, it's weird because even I didn't get it.
Yeah,
But I hadn't been paying a lot of attention at that moment in time.
Yeah.
I was looking at my phone for a
But I'm just like, bro, like, chill.
Then he made seal noises again, and I just wanted to kill him.
Yeah, he did too. He'd be like, oh, 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 oh. I swear. It reminded me of masturbating, man.
There's an extremely controversial sport/festival in Canada where they club baby seals.
No, I don't want to hear about this. Nope. We wouldn't be able to put this episode out if we talked about that. I'd have to cut it.
Awful.
No point.
Mm-mm. But that's what he sounded like.
This makes me sad thinking about
baby
it.
seal being clubbed.
That's horrible. In so many ways, that's horrible. But
oh yeah.
Anyway. I'm tired.
Good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.